All right, so pros and cons of owning a small fence company, or, in my opinion, owning any small trades company. And this may be subject to states, but I'm pretty sure this is no matter where you live in the country. One, most trades, unless you're strictly indoors, are going to be affected by the weather. Two, they're going to be affected by the economy, right? I guess everything's affected by the economy, but I feel like over 20 years, the trades get hit pretty hard depending on the trade. So owning a small business is ups and downs, right? You can make great money for whatever period of time, then you can slow way down. Finding employees, that can be a joy, depending on how big you want to grow your company, right? For me, like I've said before, right now I have one employee. Before that, I had a lot of family members that work for me, and I've had up to 3 or 4 employees at once. It's got its pluses and minuses, right? People, again, don't show up, make excuses, call out. I mean, when I was younger and still to this day, if I'm a little sick, oh well. Like, I want to provide for my family, so I get up and go to work. If I don't make money. So there's kind of a pro and con, right? When you're a small business like this, if I don't go to work, I don't get a paycheck. Now, sure, people would say, we'll hire more employees. Well, again, it goes back to my point of finding the right employees that care, regardless of what you pay them, is very, very hard. I just think it's different with people. Sorry, I got to turn on a GPS, make sure I get off the right exit. That care as much as, and I don't want to say like as much as I do, right? Because obviously it's my business, so I'm naturally going to care more because it's my name on everything, and anything that happens is on me and my wallet. And sure, people are like, oh, well, yeah, why would they care as much? Well, to get a paycheck, to move up, to get the benefits of it, to get rewarded. I mean, all of that. So that's the way I look at it. Sorry, my GPS is being dumb. Anyway, that's the hardest thing. And right now, everybody is making a lot of money. Things have slowed down a little bit more recently because, I don't know, maybe it was taxes or the interest rates. I think both of those things affected. Like I said, I'm driving back to the job right now. So, the other positive is, again, when you own it, the business, and you work for yourself, the sky's really the limit. I guess that wouldn't quite apply, right? Because you got to hire a lot more employees to make a lot of money, right? And again, that's subject to everybody's opinion. So your body's gonna get tired. You're gonna get sore as you get older. I've met most guys that they don't do this their whole lives. You just can't. Your body just can't do it. In your younger years, you can make a lot of money because you can work a lot if you have the drive. For me, if I want to work 6 days a week, I make a very good living. And honestly, I've come to find out that if you raise your prices a little bit and you just show up when you say, you're going to make a lot of money. So that is a massive pro, right? I mean, instead of like working for somebody where, I don't care if you're making $40 an hour, $50 an hour, you're kind of, that's it, right? And a lot of guys in construction in normal times, right? Right now we're on these crazy times where everybody's busy and stuff like that. A lot of companies don't want you to do overtime. They're like, no, because it costs them so much more. So you're kind of locked in. Let's say 40 hours a week, $50 an hour, $2,000 a week. Great living. But once you take out taxes on that, even if you say 20%, you're making 8. Now you just took out $1,600 from that, right? So your $2,000 a week just dropped pretty substantial. You're down to $1,600, and then you pay for all your other stuff. I mean, again, if you work for yourself, now you got to start where you got to start. But if your end game is to stay in the trades for a while and make a very good living, going out on your own can be a benefit. Now, some guys, they're like, look, I don't want to do that. And there is a negative to that. I don't work 8 hours. I work way more than 8 hours. You know, if you actually look at how much time from when I'm start doing paperwork or get out of the house to out in the field to back at the house, in the office, doing paperwork, getting estimates out, doing bids on Saturdays, it's well over 40 hours a week. I mean, it's probably 80. But some guys don't do that, and they're fine with that. They'd rather work 40 for themselves, maybe make 150 grand a year. You know, and then you have all your write-offs. That's another perk. When you work for yourself, you get to take advantage of every write-off possible. So when you look at your taxes and what a self-employed person or business owner pays in taxes is drastically different than what an employee, a W-2 employee pays, right? So if two people make $100,000 a year, and use myself as a business owner, and then my employee, let's say, was to make let's say he made $100,000 a year, he's gonna get hit with what? 22% tax. Done. That's it. That's what he's gonna pay, roughly. Again, I'm not an accountant or anything like that, or a financial advisor, but let's just say roughly 22 to 25%. Okay, easy math, 25%. So boom, 25 grand's gone. Where for me, if I quote unquote make 100 grand, right? But I have my truck payment, I have the interest on that work truck, I have the gas that I use to drive around, I have my health insurance. Let's say I buy a car to do estimates with. I have a home office. All these things are deductions that come off the top of that 100 grand. Meaning, let's say I have write-offs of $35,000. Well, now I only pay taxes on 70. That's the way it works. And so I just saved not $30,000, but I saved a substantial amount that I have to pay taxes on, right? So there's also a negative in this. A W-2 employee, when let's say he wants to buy a house, right? He takes his pay stub, takes it in, done, right? He makes what he makes. Now, a self-employed person wants to buy a house, and they've gotten their taxable income down to $75,000 a year. Well, now, because they saved that money in taxes with write-offs, their income is lower. It's not lower. It's just, that's the way they look at it. And I know that because I've bought a house. I'm currently buying a house. So it can affect you if you also have a lot of other debt, right? Your debt to income ratio is high. For me, I have no debt. You know, I don't enjoy debt. It stresses me out. I have a truck payment of hardly anything, and hardly anything I owe on it. But that does affect, the only thing I can really think is something large like that, where some guys will plan ahead. They'll be like, okay, in 2 years I want to buy a house, so I'm going to not take as many deductions. I'm going to sacrifice that so I know I can approve for the loan. So that's something you have to do, right? It's just say, I'm not going to take the deductions, and you pay a little bit more in taxes and your income's up. But that's a positive and a negative, right? In most cases, like, you go buy a car, that's not going to affect you. You know, it's those really big purchases. And from what I can think of off the top of my head, pretty much a house, you know, real estate investment, something like that is where it's going to come into play. But it is nice being able to have the deductions, right? So that's kind of my opinion, those are some pluses and minuses. I'm probably missing something. You know, I don't have a piece of paper I'm reading off of. I'm just talking because I like to talk, and I have an opinion on this, and I've been doing construction a long time. So I think hopefully it'll help people decide if they want to go into construction or a trades job or whatever. There's a lot of pluses, there's negatives, just like in anything in life, right? But I think if you go in it eyes open, you're in a better position to know what you're getting into, instead of just, you know, seeing some of these guys that own big companies don't still do the work, or they have done, you know, a couple summers in the trades and they're like, yeah, it's great, you can make a lot of money, and you don't hear any of the negatives about it. That sucks too, because then, you know, let's say you spend 4 years in the trades and you realize, okay, I knew it was hard work, but dude, this is grueling. And then at the end of the year, look how much I made because we had slow time, or, you know, the company I'm working for didn't have any work, so I didn't get a paycheck, and that happens. So I hope this video helps, and we'll see you on the next one. God bless.